Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to read out a statement first. Then I will give room for Q&A.
We are going on air. We're going on air.
No?
Are you sure?
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to read out a statement first before we go to the question and answers. We are now entering day 5 of the search for flight MH370. My heart reaches out to the families of the passengers and crew, and I give you my assurance that it will not reduce the tempo and that we will not spare any effort to find the missing plane. The search has been expanded to 2 areas, and we are now searching nearly 27,000 square nautical miles, 12,425 square nautical miles in the Straits of Malacca, and 14,440 square nautical miles in the South China Sea. 42 ships and 39 aircraft have now been deployed to search for MH370. 12 countries have joined the search, with India, Japan, and Brunei being the latest to join in the team. This is a multinational operation. We are thankful to the cooperation of our friends and neighbors, which is unwavering, quite overwhelming, and we welcome even more expert assistance. The way forward, ladies and gentlemen, is to bring more experts to analyze both the civilian and the military data in the east or in the west, on land or in the water. And this is exactly what we are doing today. We are now working with many experts, including from Boeing, the US Federal Aviation Authority, and the US National Transport Safety Board, in helping us with the investigations. Any questions? Yes. Can you state your name and...
I'm from Xinhua University. I'm just there are calls from China. Can you verify this?
Sorry?
There are calls from body.
There's a body on the sea.
I cannot confirm that.
That's
Kenapa sidang media ini berlaku begitu lama? Dan soalan kedua, kami dapat maklumat ada penumpang berhubung dengan rakan yang di Beijing pada pukul 2 pagi hari kejadian. Kami telah esok awal ni telah verify benda ni dan mungkin Datuk boleh sahkan ataupun adakah sedang menyiasat?
Dari segi saya, dari segi spekulasi kedua itu saya tidak ada maklumat. Dan dari segi kenyataan akhbar dan PC hari ini, hari-hari pada masa ini 5 atau 5.30 saya akan hadir sendiri untuk memberi PC. This is the new template where I will attend on a daily basis at this time of the day.
Datuk Mani here from Bloomberg. Datuk.
We do have maklumat.
Yes.
At what point will the DCA change the status of operation from search and rescue to search and recovery? And what are the criteria? Also, realistically, what are the chances of survival?
We are still doing the search and rescue. We still have hope. The chances of survival, it depends also in a lot of criteria. You see, because we don't know where the aircraft is. That's the main problem. Until we find the aircraft, then we can determine.
Can I just add to that? I like to confirm that our immediate focus is to find the aircraft. Unless we get the aircraft and the black box, it is unlikely that we're able to answer a lot of speculative issues that have been raised out there. So our focus is focusing on that as our main priority.
Where's the focus of research right now? Can you confirm if the plane has turned back?
We are focusing both in the South China Sea and in the Straits of Malacca. In the statement that I issued, there have been 42 ships and 39 aircrafts, and these have been divided into the 2 areas that I've mentioned. And this is part of our initiatives when the Prime Minister indicated that the area of search and rescue was going to be expanded. We expanded it to the Straits of Malacca. Yeah, I fully understand that. This is unprecedented, what we are going through. Coordinating so many countries together is not something that is easy. We're looking at so many vessels and aircraft, so many countries to coordinate, and a vast area for us to search. And each time that passes, I fear that the search and rescue becomes just a search. But we will never give up hope.
Dato',
And
Dato'.
this we owe
Dato'.
to the families. And the longer it takes for us to find the aircraft, I think the family members are the ones that I feel so,
Dato'.
as I said in my earlier statement, I feel for so much.
Dato', despite all the efforts that are being made by Malaysia, there's still continuous criticism and no transparency, and especially China is making a lot of accusations.
I don't think we can target and label it to any particular nation. China will obviously feel aggrieved because they have so many of their nationals involved. And it's also natural in a crisis and tragedy of this magnitude. As time passes by, emotions, frustrations, but it will not distract us from our main focus, which is to find the aircraft.
Sir.
Can you tell me when was the last known recording of the plane, where the plane was according to military radar?
Military radar.
Thank you. So the primary radar plot on the primary radar, the last known time was at 0215 local. 0215 local. Okay, this is now from beginning we say it is a possible turn back. Why possible? Because we are trying to corroborate with all the other radars, including the seawall radar. So at the moment we are still corroborating with FAA, with NTSB, and all the other available radars. So the position is in Straits of Malacca.
Sir, I'm from CC. Sir, please.
You see, there's still a possibility that it is in the Straits of Malacca. We are still corroborating. We are still doing forensic.
It's not that it has gone there.
No, we are still doing forensic on the radar
We have
plot.
been very consistent. On Saturday, the Prime Minister indicated that we're going to expand our search and rescue operations. On that day, also, we made a statement to say that there is a possibility of a turn back. And on that same day, too, we expanded the area to the Straits of Malacca. I indicated to you the number of vessels and also aircraft in both these areas. We have today not found anything, but we are extending it further. So basically, we have been very consistent in what we have been saying in the last few days.
Sir, are there any, sir?
Hi. I'm afraid not.
Sir, I'm from Association. What's up? Hi.
As per the aircraft communication and reporting system, when and where did it last transmit data? And did it stop at the same time that the transponder stopped?
Okay, in our radar, the secondary radar, we look at our radar, and it was costing about 1:21 in the morning, and the target disappears altogether at 1:30 in the morning. And that is because we have a secondary radar. Our primary radar does not pick it up at that particular point of time. Then the defense primary radar was analyzed on the same day, and there was an indication of like what I said, indication of possibility and air turn back. That's the reason. Hence, that's the reason why a search was conducted in the Straits of Malacca and Andaman Sea.
Sir,
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 sir.
can I ask? Yeah, sir, I'm from SI Shimbun. So if the military radar is able to pick up the signal at the Malacca Straits, so the plane should have disappeared at Malacca Straits. So why are you still searching at
There's
the
a possibility.
South China Sea?
We stated it was a possibility. It's
Sir.
not a definitive answer.
Minister,
Yes.
Sir.
Siva from Reuters.
Yes, Siva.
Could you help us understand something now?
Sure.
What is the altitude when it was spotted in the Straits of Malacca? Could you explain to us what is the altitude when it was on the other side of Malaysia? Please tell us whether the information data, ACAS data, VHF, was any VHF communication, was anything there at the point at 1:30?
Well, I'll let the DC talk about the commercial radar, and then that's Sri Rosali on the military.
I think the commercial data, as I mentioned, I have to repeat again. It was costing starting from 121, but at 130 it disappears altogether from our radar. This is secondary radar.
No
And
VHF communication, nothing?
nothing at all.
And not even the information for the military radar.
All right, thank you. The last plot after several intermittent primary plot, there's a last plot that happened at 0215, flight level 295, 200 miles northwest of Penang.
Can you repeat that?
Again, we are corroborating this, okay?
Okay.
Corroborating this. 0215. I'm not saying this is MH370, okay? It is. We are still corroborating this. We are still working with the experts.
So what are you saying it was?
Sorry?
You don't know what it was?
No.
So what do you see on at
It's a plot. It's a plot. Unidentified plot. At 295.
See, the difference between secondary radar and primary radar. Secondary radar is talking to the aircraft via transponder, and it gives you the aircraft, the airline, the aircraft type, how high it flies, how fast it flies, and the track and so forth. But on the primary radar, it just gives a plot. It doesn't give the identification of an aircraft.
I think that answers a
Sir,
lot
are
of.
there any? I'm from CCTV.
Can I hang on? Can I just reiterate that? I can see that now we are more appreciative of the data that we have. The primary data does not actually tell you about the aircraft per se. It just talks about a plot. And that requires corroboration and detailed analysis by experts, which we have brought in also today. So this is something that
Sir, I want to know, are there any?
there is a body has been found in Malacca Street right now.
not true. Yes, sir.
Keir Simmons from NBC
Hi.
News. You're getting increasing criticism now. You're searching east, you're searching west. You don't seem to know what you've seen on a radar, and it's taken you till now,
That's
5
not-
days later.
I think that's
to tell
not
us
true.
this. Well,
That-
can I ask,
Yeah,
this is utter confusion now.
I don't think so. I think it's far from it. It's only confusion if you want it to be seen to be confusion. We have, made it very clear that we've been very consistent in our
Where
approach.
you need to search.
Yes, in these two areas, and we have searched in these areas.
Is it right, though, that you have now extended the search to ask the Indian government to help you? Is that wrong?
The Indian government have come on board as part of this multinational operation. And I think that is something that should be commended. And this is not a small operation that we're looking at. And until we find that craft, we'll do whatever it takes to find it. So there's no
Please.
Sorry, did the Air Force send jets to track the plane?
No.
No.
At the end there. Hi.
Describe with as much detail as possible what kind of cooperation you're looking for from the FAA and the NTSB.
We have discussed with them today. We have a working mechanism that we have to work with them. They will come up with their list of items that they could able to help with us. And by tomorrow we should able to sit down again. And again we have to plot the mechanism so that it can be implemented, so that we could work together in our effort to find the aircraft. There are so many things that we're going to
The data, military and commercial, have been also shared with them. in order to be analyzed and to look at it in more detail.
Why wasn't a fighter jet scrambled to the place?
Yes, question for the DCA, sir. Just following on from that
Sure.
one. Last year in November, the FAA issued a directive, a warning about problems, weak spots in the fuselage of the B777 stream from CNBC. Do you have the fullest, utmost confidence in the structural integrity of the B777s that MAS is flying?
From our records, the aircraft, when it's flying, is airworthy. It complies to all the airworthiness directive that's been issued by the state of design, that is USA. FAA issue all the airworthiness directive, and they
Did you receive
comply.
that directive, sir?
Of course, and
you checked the planes and there was nothing wrong with them?
at the time of the flight, the aircraft is airworthy with our certificate of airworthiness.
Last November, did you look for that particular fault that was flagged up by the FAA?
I cannot tell you the details.
Would you like to answer that?
Now, we ensure that all our aircrafts are airworthy and comply to all the ADs and the SBs issued by the manufacturer.
So you did receive that and you did act on it, this specific one?
Yes.
On this specific plane? On this specific plane, sir? Did you look on this specific plane for that specific
On this
product?
specific plane, I will have to check on the record. But as a policy, Malaysia Airlines ensure that all its fleet comply with the SBs and SDs issued by the manufacturer.
But on this specific plane,
No, I have to check on this specific plane, okay? But as a policy.
Yeah.
Could you just tell us, there are US spy satellites moving to regions. Are we in touch with
Yes,
them?
we are in touch with
Could
them.
you elaborate?
Yeah. Lady at the back. Lady at the back. Yes. Yes. I think it's not a matter of chaos. There are a lot of speculation that we have answered to in the last few days. And credit must be given to those who have worked hard to ensure that any speculation or issues that have been raised have been investigated, and we have been very transparent to the media and to the public. That is for the families concerned. Secondly, on the issue of more data and expertise that are coming in, I think that is a process that will be going on. And today we've indicated other agencies that have come in to help with the DCA in that investigation. Finally, the issue of getting multi-national cooperation. It works at different levels of cooperation. That will we will review from time to time.
Tasir, Rosalie.
Yes.
Why is it that Malaysia lacks, why we lack transparency and very stingy with information?
Because the information is far between.
It keeps changing.
No.
And it doesn't give confidence to the country.
Well, I think that's an opinion that has been raised.
Tansri Rosalie.
Rosalie.
Tansri
Rosalie.
I want the association to explain that. That's the issue about the 5 passengers.
Yes.
It's the different answer from different agents.
Yes.
Can you answer that?
The 5 passengers that checked in
Yeah.
were
But
on board.
yesterday,
There were no
flight said that-
baggage that was offloaded, and those that booked, 4 passengers that booked that didn't arrive were replaced but from the reserve list. Is that right?
How is it the
Tasir, Rosalie. Tasir, Rosalie.
what you said yesterday?
Is it 5 or 4 or non-passenger check-in and
So that was completely different from what you said yesterday.
Okay, just to set the record straight, there's a lot of confusion here. Okay? Out of 227 passengers that were booked on that flight, 4 did not turn up. That means they never checked it. They did not turn up. We have standby passengers, of which 4 was then boarded to replace the 4 that did not turn up. So what it means that all passengers that checked in got their luggage on board.
Mr. Minister?
Yes.
That means that
The police chief yesterday outlined what exactly the police part of the investigation was. Can you tell us what the DCA is
are the likely scenarios that DCA is
Well, I stand by with what the IGP has indicated yesterday.
No, what is the DCA part of the investigation about? What exactly are the possibilities that the DCA investigation with the FAA and NTSB is looking at? What are some of the possibilities, 2 or 3 possibilities that you could tell us?
There are many possibilities. One of them is to help us in finding the aircraft. They are looking at the data that we will give to them on from our radar tracking, record of radar. Number 2, they are looking at the aircraft records. Okay, looking at the aircraft records, and also they are also going to help us in the investigation of possibility if we find the aircraft. That's preparing.
The focus is on locating the aircraft. And if we have data from the military and the commercial, those radar data is going to be used by these experts to assist us in locating it. That is the primary focus at the moment.
Tasri. On the military radar, how low was the plane flying?
One,
and also, sorry,
yeah.
in addition to that, why has it taken you so long to reveal that information? And are you not surprised that people are wondering if you are hiding things when it takes you 5 days to reveal a very key piece of information?
No, because what we indicated on Saturday was that there was a possibility that a turn back. And a primary radar does not indicate what aircraft it is. Until today, we are still not sure that it is the same aircraft. That is why we're searching in 2 areas. That's why we are deploying all our vessels and also aircraft and from the neighboring countries in these 2 areas. If we know for sure that it is in Malacca Straits, we would have moved all our assets there. So basically, there is no real confusion unless you really want to look for confusion. So this PC today, ladies and gentlemen, is ready to clarify that, to make sure that the information that we have been saying in the last 3 days is consistent. It's transparent. We've got nothing to hide. And actually, we owe it to the parents, to actually, to the families, to actually tell the truth.
May I
Yeah.
Tan Sri Wale, I got a question for you.
I would like to reinforce what my minister said now. Is that listen? I would like to. I've got to clear this up. This is very important. When the Prime Minister on Saturday afternoon said that we have got to expand the area of search, we, the military, went back and sat down, thinking of the area that is to be expanded. And also, we were baffled by not getting any distress signal from this particular aircraft if it has gone missing. So we decided that we should now review if our air defense radar tracked this particular aircraft. When we look at their recording, it proves that there is a possibility that this aircraft make a turn back. But we are not sure whether it is the same aircraft, but it happens to be in the same area, that signal that comes out on the radar screen that makes a turn back. So we decided that immediately we collaborate with the radar of DCA in Kota Baru. And to a certain extent, we saw some blinks too. So it raised the possibility getting higher for us. Now, yet we are not sure. But can I take the risk of, if it's making a comeback, you know, the speed of the aircraft and so on, if it goes to the Straits of Malacca, and if I do not respond by sending some of my assets that particular night, just in case, I have got to do something. I contacted my minister, sir, this is what I think is going to happen. I would like to deploy my asset, which is already in the West Coast, which has not yet been deployed to the East Coast. We sent some ships immediately from Lumut that particular night to the place that where we suspected the aircraft would be. And the next morning at first light, we sent a Charlie 130 immediately to scout the area to see any possibility. Now, it is a possibility, and the slightest possibility I must respond for the sake of the passenger on MH370.
So were you tracking this in real time, this unidentified object going across Malaysia? Were you tracking it in real time? And if you were, why did you not send that?
No, we did not track it in real time. We saw a recording of it. We were not sure. And it just so happened that when we saw the recording of the data, then it appears to. So we have got to respond.
Tan Sri, Kadir from RTM. Tan Sri, here.
Daripada RTM tadi.
If transparency is your aim and you say you are looking for the aircraft, and transparency is your aim and you're also reaching out to civilian authorities, entities for help, why not release the raw radar data? Are there any plans to do that?
We need to collaborate this with other radars, with our neighbors.
But plans to release
Of course,
raw radar
of course.
data?
Yes, we plan to release it to you. But as long as I know that actions are being taken for the conduct of the search and rescue operations, the next day we immediately contacted our friends from Indonesia. Please activate your SAR, which they came immediately.
If FAA and